Day traders, Raghee here, and in this update I'm going to talk about a scenario that we all as traders run into from time to time, especially if we're dip buyers, trend followers waiting for a more substantial retracement that we can buy into. So that's a very common issue where, market's gone parabolic, it's really accelerating very fast. We're waiting for that great dip to buy into. They don't come that often, do they? I mean, we had one back on the 19th. I was looking forward to maybe one more down candle after yesterday on Powell, get that post-Powell sell-off. We didn't get it. And so how do we deal with environments like this where clearly we've got an uptrend, we want to buy movement to the downside, but we're just not getting enough, or the timing isn't really great? Because let's face it, buying tech, buying NASDAQ this week is tricky, because as much as this area here was a wonderful pullback to the VWAPs, we know we've got, again, Powell and this slew of tech data that makes this week within this earnings season the most impactful week of any of the weeks within the season. All right, so we know we've got these massive earnings, Powell, advanced GDP, PCE on Friday, just so much to deal with. So what we do is we get nimble. And this morning we did some day trading. Let me take you on over there. We did some day trading this morning. So I'm going to take you on over to the 5-minute time frame of the NASDAQ, where I would love to be a buyer. I think in any other week, I would have considered buying NASDAQ any other week. But this week, really difficult to want to do that on the dip. So knowing that I have bullish bias, we set this up. We actually did this in the Sector Secrets Mastery this morning, but this is classic day trading from my last class, the Day Trader's Playbook. This is quite literally just a textbook example of one of those plays. And so we have this bullish bias. The market sells off. We're not going to get rope-a-doped into the short. What are we going to do? We're going to wait for the market. The movement lower is the gift. The movement lower is actually the pitch. So we get to this pitch down in this area. We have the volatility-derived zone called the HPMR, which is a process that I created using historical volatility to help us forecast volatility-based support and resistance, forecast according to time of day. And then we've got the Darvis pattern forming down here. And we have our V-score, a volume-based tool showing exhaustion. So this is the trifecta. This is just a really textbook setup. We know there's going to be more volatility. Why? Because it's an FOMC day, which means it is a caution day. So I'm going to be more conservative. I'm going to play a little bit smaller size. Or I'm going to manage risk with something other than the NASDAQ futures. I could look at XLK, I could look at XLC, or I could just go ahead and grab the ETF alternative with the QQQ, and that is what we did. So if we know there's going to be a little bit more elasticity around these support levels, we can compensate with buying calls when the market enters the zone. And we bought the 340, what did we buy? Seems like forever ago now as I'm recapping this. I'll tell you right now because we have all these great notes we keep. And there it is. We bought, using the September NASDAQ futures, we tracked that to buy the 364. And so that's a really great trade for us in terms of being able to withstand that volatility of this caution day. All right, so we bought this here for $1. I think some folks picked it up for even lower than I did, but it was anywhere from $1.10 to $1.05. I think some folks in the room picked it up even at $1.03. Those QQQ options. And we were looking for initial targets, basically just looking for the market to move back up to a value area high or the clearing range high. I mean, these are just really simple upside targets. We don't get complicated when it comes to short-term time frames. Keep it really simple. Keep it very process-driven. You don't have the luxury of time. So we ended up with 3 different targets. Our last one being right up here in the resistance of the hourly price movement range. So really interesting. One HPMR helped us get in. The other HPMR helped us get out. And I think at the upper end, we were about 320, 330 on the last target. So, a nice 3x trade. And so again, what are we trying to do? We're trying to take advantage of intraday movement. We know we'd like to be a buyer, but I'm not going to buy that VWAP pullback this week in front of major data. So next best thing, let's just go ahead and day trade it. Let's see if we can't take advantage of some of that move on an intraday time frame. And this was a great 3x trade. Love setups like this. And if this kind of setup is intriguing to you and you want to do more of these kinds of setups, you can join us on Monday. We have a webinar coming up where I'm going to walk through a lot of these setups with you, taking advantage of things on the QQQ, SPY, NASDAQ futures, S&P futures. This doesn't matter if it's futures, stocks, or ETFs, although the focus here is mostly going to be ETFs and stocks, and also the ETFs based on these futures contracts. So come check it out, August 2, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. We're going to talk about what we've been doing so far this year and why it really hasn't, looking at 2020 to 2021, it really hasn't been that difficult in terms of finding uptrends. It's just been fewer, right? That's really the bottom line. Are there opportunities to get long and play 2021 like 2020? Heck, we'll be able to do this in 2022 unless the broader markets roll over into an overall downtrend, double red. We're still going to look for those glimpses of 2020 in 2021, and that's what we've been doing. So come check it out. In the meanwhile, if you need to play short term in this environment to take advantage of movement, think about getting short term, think about getting nimble, and I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.